Morning, everyone. Hope you're all well. We are learning today in memory of Leah Bas 5-year-old, Tzivia Bas Mordechai, Avram ben David Slavin, Shlom ben Yisroel Morris, Eliezer Shalom ben Abba Shmuel Beres, Sipur Fegel Bas Reuven Baruch, Shalom ben Eli Eli ben Bas 5-year-old, from Shoshana Bas Yaakov Shmuel, Sarah Malka Bas ben Yomin, Yirmiyahu Yechia ben Achav Moshe Eliezer, as well as the yortzites for today, which we should have here. Let's have a quick look for the 9th. Leah Bas Moshe Elman, Rivka Bas Yosef Clark, Moshe ben Chaim Gordon, Moshe ben Chaim, Beryl ben Avram Noach Hod, Mendel ben Dov Halevi Lewin. Wish each and every one of their respective families long life and only simchas. So it is the Hine Yom Hadin. This is just a few hours to go until we have Yom Kippur, the day of the Day of Atonement, the day when we are going to be cleansed, right? It's a day which we should look forward to, of course, with intrepidation and awe, but also with confidence, right? Today there is a tradition, not a tradition, there's actually a law that you're meant to, there's a mitzvah, believe it or not, perhaps the most popular Jewish mitzvah, to eat today. Now that's astounding, right? How can there be a mitzvah to eat today? Isn't it obvious that we have to eat today, right? You're going to fast tomorrow, so obviously you're going to be eating. And not only that, it gets worse, friends. We find that the eating today is described as afflicting our souls. I have to be honest, I've never felt when I have been eating that I have been afflicting my soul. So how can it be that eating today is the equivalent of fasting? How can it be that when we are eating today, it is described in terms of fasting? Fasting is what we're going to be feeling tomorrow. Lousy, weak, right? We're going to feel very fragile. We're going to be rather grumpy, headachy, right? Today we feel great. We're going to be eating. We're fasting. You're probably eating your breakfast as we speak. So the answer is as follows. That the way that we eat and the way that we eat today is equivalent to the way that we fast tomorrow. In other words, the same way that tomorrow, friends, when you fast, you are going to fast purely for the sake of heaven. There is no reason or rationale, no rhyme or reason for you fasting tomorrow, right? Nobody wakes up on Yom Kippur and says, oh, I must start a diet. It's called Yom Kippur. Nobody does that. The only reason why we're going to fast on Yom Kippur is because God said so. We're doing it for him. We're giving totally of ourselves to him. And perhaps a greater challenge is to do that on Erev Yom Kippur, to give ourselves totally him when we are still engaged with the world, right? Something that is so physical, so human as eating. Now, how do we elevate that? How do we make that tantamount to fasting? And the answer is we do it for God, that we make blessings today. And when we eat, right, we think beforehand, why am I eating? I'm eating because there's a mitzvah to eat today, right? It's not that so that I can add up my calories today and I'm having pasta today so that I'll be able with all my carbs to get through tomorrow and stand for Nila. That's not the way it works. I'm doing this because I've got a mitzvah today to eat, which is, and if I do the eating for the sake of heaven, it's tantamount to the fasting tomorrow. In fact, it's probably harder. Many would say to eat, to do things which in any case we have a physical need for, to do that for the sake of heaven is much, much harder. So that is the mitzvah of the day. I'm just going to go through a few other things on the mitzvahs of the day, and I thought it would be nicer and more practical. In the meantime, I want to start by wishing our special guests and special friends well over the fast, to Caroline, to Peter, to Mervyn, to Michelle, to Andrea, to Peter, to Rachel, to Jonathan, to David, to Estelle, to all those that are joining us on YouTube as well. My special friends, it means so much. We usually have between, I know it's a Sunday morning, people are still waking up or running around getting the shopping and cooking for today. So not everyone is here, but it means so much to have so many people which join us day in, day out. And especially Eitan's just joined us. Welcome, Eitan. So a couple of points about today. Yortzeit candles. Yortzeit candles, generally 2 are lit today, okay? 2 are lit. If you've done one till now, it's also good. but there is a tradition to light 2 candles. Okay, one is because whenever we say Yizka, we light, and one is for all the departed relatives that we have. Okay, so therefore 2 Yortzeit candles you should prepare for today. If you are coming to shul tomorrow at any point or tonight, highly recommended, and this is not a joke, or any minyan that you are going to up and down this country, because of the requirements for COVID, therefore it is freezing cold. Please make sure that you come with a sweater or with a coat, and don't be afraid or ashamed to sit with it, because it is freezing, I'm afraid to say, in the shul and in the hall. But that's because we have to have the doors open in the current COVID crisis. So therefore it is for our own good. Okay, that's point number 2. Point number 3, obviously you shouldn't, obviously we have to fast and we have to drink. Now, if a person has symptoms of COVID, right, it doesn't necessarily mean that they don't fast. It very much will depend on a case-by-case basis. If they're very mild symptoms, then they should speak to me about it. If they have very severe symptoms, then obviously they don't fast, right? Obviously, we're not suggesting that somebody puts their life in danger, quite the opposite, God forbid. So anybody who is seriously ill, right, can call me up, speak to their doctor, but usually anybody that's seriously ill may not fast. It's not a question of choice. Either you have to fast or you're not allowed to fast, okay? There was a woman who, in Rav Lev's community, one of my rebbeim, and she was intent on fasting, despite the fact that she was very frail and she'd been ill and she shouldn't be fasting. Rav Lev went round to her and he just said to her, because she was not listening, she was intent on fasting. So he said to her, I want to ask you something. Which faith do you belong to? She says, what are you talking about, Rabbi? I'm a member of your community. I'm Jewish. What? He says, no, you're certainly not Jewish. Because if you were Jewish, then you would be doing what the Torah tells you to do and what God tells you to do. And God tells you that when you are healthy, you have to fast. And if you're not healthy, it's forbidden to fast. So that is the rule of thumb, okay, in terms of that. I am going to try and get the office to send around today a list of all the prayers that one can say and one should say when one is on one's own. In other words, if you're not in shul, we've got from Rabbi Adam Hill, we made a fantastic chart of all the things one can say and should say over Yom Kippur. The most important thing about Yom Kippur, it is, in the days gone by, the high priest would go into the Holy of Holies. So today, in our day, where we don't have the high priest going in on our behalf and asking God for forgiveness, it is each and every one of us that goes into the Holy of Holies. In other words, we have our time wherever we are, even if you're at home with God. Make the most of that time. Speak in English to God. Start speaking to him. If you're frustrated with COVID, feeling lonely, tell him, speak to him. It doesn't matter if you're upset about something. I speak to God all the time. Sometimes I vent my frustrations. I tell him I'm not happy, right? But it is important that we actually today try to get our house in order. So again, anyone that we've upset and offended, you should text, WhatsApp, call them to ask them for forgiveness. If there's nothing specific, but you may have if there's nothing specific that you're both aware of that has caused upset, then a generic, I hope you wish you well over the fast. If there's something that I may have done, right, which is very often the case, we don't remember, or to say so would cause offense, then we should just say it like that. But don't leave it, do that. And then when it comes to Yom Kippur, then even the things that we have caused offense between us and our fellow human being are now matters between us and God, because we have made amends between us and our fellow human being, okay? So the important thing is, it's about being sincere, about being genuine, right? It's about davening with the heart, okay? The reason why we bang the heart, right, is not because so many Jews have heart conditions and we're just checking our heart in the middle of davening, clapping our chet. That's not the idea. It's to show that God, this is where it stemmed from. This is where I went wrong. It's not really me. It was just my emotions, my passions that got out of control. But I want to harness it. I want to keep it in control. I want to be a better person this year. That is what it's about. Sit down on Yom Kippur. You're going to have more time than usual. Sit down and think about who we are and who we want to be, right? And if you do that and you speak to God and you say to him, this is where I am, this is what I want to do, and you have a quality conversation with God, quality prayers with God, right? I can assure you it can be an exceptionally meaningful experience, even if you're not in shul. In fact, in shul is going to be exceptionally challenging because, as I already mentioned, it's very, very cold. So I think, in a way, if you are at home, it's not the end of the world this year. You're safe. You'll get the list sent out by the shul as to all the prayers that you can say. Plenty of good stuff to read about teshuvah, about repentance, about becoming a better person, self-improvement. Say the prayers, speak to them in English, and please God, in that way, we will all be written in the book of life. I think one thing we realize, and we spoke about it yesterday, is it's certainly not a laughing matter. It's not, nothing can be taken for granted. We used to recite Avinu Malkeinu, and one of the Avinu Malkeinus, our Father, our King, is that we say that we should not have any type of plague. That was, I remember reading that just, last year and thinking, that's from another planet. That's nothing to do with us. Friends, we have a pandemic. We have an existential threat to each and every one of us. And therefore we need, literally, we're fighting for our lives and for the lives of every person around us. And it's for us. We cannot rest and be complacent. We have to do everything we can to make sure we are written in the book of life. That is our lifeline that we have. We have Yom Kippur to ask for forgiveness and to ensure that we get written in the book of life for everyone. So that's also another point. I don't think there's anything else. 12 o'clock, we have Yizka online. That we are doing that because we recognize that not everyone's going to be able to be in shul tonight. Most people won't be, and therefore there'll be Yizka online. It is on social media, and it is being sent out through the website, so details are there. And in the meantime, I think that is it. We'll carry on with our usual schedule, and it goes as follows, okay? So, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He causes me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Even when I walk in the valley of darkness, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You set a table before me in the presence of my adversaries. You anointed my head with oil, my cup overflows. May only goodness and kindness pursue me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord for the length of days. Come to memorial prayer. Adon Olamim Zocho Es Nishmois Le'abat Spaivel Tivabas Mordechai Avram ben David Slavin Shlom ben Yisro Mois Eliezer Shalom ben Avram Shmuel Beres Tivaravekel Bas Reuven Bok Shalom ben Elili ben Bas Spaivel from Moshe Shana Bas Yaakov Shmuel Saramaoka Bas Binyamin Chav Yirmiyahu Yechia ben Chav Moshe Eliezer, as well as the Yortzites. Leah Bas Moshe Elman, Rivka Bas Yosef Clark, Moshe ben Chaim Gordon, Beryl ben Avram Noah Chotz, Mendel ben Dov Alevi Levi Lewin, Gan Aiden Taymanucha, Sam Lachin Warachamim, Yastrim Bisekan of Babylon, Mim, Yotzavas Haistesh Wasam, Adonai Nachlasam, Yanucha Bushlamish Kavam, and Amar, Amen. Wish long life to all those that have Yortzeit and all those that are saying Kaddish. I did tell you what I'm going to do because Andrea is on here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to WhatsApp Andrea afterwards the list of prayers, just in case the office doesn't have a chance to get it out. And she will then put it on the Hacken blog, and she'll put it also on Facebook, okay, on my page and on the Shul page. And that way, everyone will definitely have the opportunity to have that wonderful list from Rabbi Hill, who we are grateful for putting it together for prayers for the individual on Yom Kippur this year. We conclude lastly with a Refuah Shlema prayer. Never has it been more necessary in the current climate with so many cases and arises, and we're thinking about everyone who's unwell and who needs a Refuah Shlema. Okay, we welcome Harry, who said he had a lot of trouble logging in. I presume, Harry, that's because there were so many people logging in, thousands of people, you just didn't get in time, and the internet couldn't take it. It was crashing because of so many people were on my program this morning. Okay, so Misha Berach Avasing Avram Yisrael Yaakov Moshe Aaron David Shlomo Hu Yevarech Ra Pesach Chaylim Va'avu Shana Mispalim Bavuram V'Zevzeh Kadosh Baruch Hu L'Rachim Aleichem Lechem Olafu L'Sam Yishlach Lem Fushlim and Shemaim L'Chol Avim V'Sor Shtach V'Sor Refuah HaNefesh V'Sakov Hashabak Zman Karev and Amar Amen. Friends, we wish each and every one of you well. Please God, you should have a Kesiva Chesima Tova. You should have a Gemar Chesima Tova, a good Geben Shior. You should have health, happiness, success, prosperity, and only good things and fulfillment in your year ahead. We wish everyone well. Please make the most of the opportunities. It will be posted straight after this by Andrea, please God, the link with or the actual thing, which is the list, the attachment for all the prayers that you can say on your own, and we'll try and send it out through email. Anyone has individual questions, contact me. Wishing everyone well. Well over the fast. Take care. See you at 12 for Yizka.